Hello, I'm Cody the Coin Raptor, and in today's video, we're going to talk about what has been going on with the Bitcoin price, why it's down today, and what we can expect from the price, and this particular spot of the year, and what's going on with Bitcoin seasonality. I'm going to explain that all in this video. But before we get to that, be sure to subscribe, be sure to hit that like button, and be sure to follow me on X. So Bitcoin is down about 4%, maybe a little over 4% today. And it's down largely due to the news that BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF application has been delayed by the SEC. And honestly, I have to say, kind of no duh. I mean, the SEC has definitely shown time and time again that they're not quite ready to allow a Bitcoin spot ETF. And I didn't really expect that they were going to do this. So they had this decision. They've decided that they're going to be delaying it. And it seems like as a result, a lot of the gains that we saw from the victory over the SEC in the Grayscale case have largely been given up. So we go over here, we take a look at our charts, and we can see again that bump that we had is basically, it gave all that away. Now we're actually back to support here at about 25,800, and we're looking to see where Bitcoin is going to be heading next. Now, what's interesting about this is we saw Bitcoin clip right through the 200-day moving average and fall a little bit lower. And if we zoom out to the 200 weekly, it paints a very interesting picture. And that is that Bitcoin has been able to find support so far at the 200 weekly. This is where I would expect the next major support line after the 25,800 level. Then you're looking at about 25,600 at that 200-week moving average. Now, this is going to be some fairly strong support here, but if that doesn't hold, then we can always look at support here at about 25,000. Now, I'm going to go ahead and also put up a volume profile as well. Now, the volume profiles I like to use are the same kind of volume profiles that many people use here. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out a little bit. If you guys are interested in that, it'd be indicators. And you're going to be searching for the volume profile from Mr. Lonesome the Blue. Okay, so that's one I tend to use, and I like it because it's very nicely laid out, and you can kind of see the volume over time. And so what the volume profile right now is telling us is that this area here, about 25,800 down to about 23,600, is an area in which historically there's just not a lot of volume. So this can be kind of construed upon a couple different ways, and that is that if it gets into this range, there's not a lot of trading data that traders can go back to, or investors can go back to, and see, people buying or selling at these prices. Now, on the other hand, just below that, we're seeing that about 23,200, it's a significant block of historical volume. And then just above that here, basically from about 26,100 to about 27,700 is a significant block of volume. So it's kind of caught between two historically strong volume levels right now. And it's entirely possible that it could, in theory, sink all the way down here to the top of this 23,200 volume level right here. Now, I don't think that that volume profiles say everything. I do think that it's interesting supplemental information, but so far what we're seeing with the Bitcoin price is that the upward momentum has just basically not been sustainable. We've seen time and time again where the Bitcoin price tries to rally and then it gets forced down after that point. Now, I don't really think that we're going to wind up seeing 23K Bitcoin, but I'll make another judgment here if we actually come down and touch 25. And if we do wind up breaking through that 28, 26 level, or if we break through this 25.8 level and 26.8 level, I do expect that 25,000 region to be incredibly strong support. And if we come down to this area again, I'm going to go and revise my thesis about how far we could fall from there. So if you go ahead and take a look at our Bitcoin perpetual futures market, it kind of explains things a little bit better. Perp futures, we've seen so far a huge dump in the open interest. So we've seen contracts basically get we've seen less contracts over the past couple of hours, and it seems like this huge drop from the Bitcoin price coming all the way down here to about 25,000 has liquidated a significant number of these long contracts. In fact, it's liquidated so many of these long contracts that the funding rates have actually gone negative. So the shorts have actually taken control right now of the perpetual futures market. The shorts are in control. The longs were dominant. They tried to pile in up here in this area again, about 28,000 in this area, and then they got basically trapped and liquidated, and they pushed the price even lower. So that's kind of where we stand right now in the perpetual futures market. And if you look at this market, it makes sense. This is kind of a good understanding of what's going on behind the scenes and what traders are looking for. Now, put a different way, we can go ahead and take a look at our total crypto liquidations for today, and we're actually up to about $100 million worth of long liquidations. And if we go to Bitcoin alone, that is about $41 million in 24 hours. So this is a pretty significant long liquidation position. Now, that short liquidation that we talked about a couple of days ago that got us to that level, that was actually slightly higher at about 50 million. So this is roughly in line with that size of a move. And it makes sense considering we're basically back at the price we started before that victory news we got from the Grayscale case. Now, I also want to go ahead and talk about the NVT Golden Cross here. So again, as a quick reminder, NVT Golden Cross can help us find local tops and local bottoms in the Bitcoin price. And it seems like lately we've seen the NVT Golden Cross come into this green zone and then pop out again. Normally that signals a local bottom, but it seems like for now, the Bitcoin price, if I overlay this, the Bitcoin price seems to be heading a little bit lower. So right now, we may be getting kind of a false signal here from the NVT Golden Cross, but it's something I'm going to be monitoring a little bit more in the future, because normally we would have gotten a kind of we would have gotten a bottoming signal right here at about the 23rd, 24th or so. And it seems like Bitcoin hasn't bottomed just yet, but we'll have to go ahead and see if that turns out to be the case or not. This could be a potentially a false bottoming signal so far. Now, I want to go ahead and talk about Bitcoin seasonality. So Bitcoin seasonality, we have here the Bitcoin monthly returns, and I want to just go ahead and draw your attention to August and September. Okay, these are historically very weak months for Bitcoin. The sellers come out in droves on August and September, and we've seen that so far. In August, down 11%, okay? August, again, historically, very weak for Bitcoin. September, even worse for Bitcoin. In fact, we've only ever had 3 green Septembers in Bitcoin's history. This goes back to 2013. And the one here is actually this year, and that could change. So historically speaking, we've only ever had 2 green Septembers, and so that doesn't necessarily bode well for the Bitcoin price. And we could wind up seeing sellers actually maybe even push it down to that 25K level, and then maybe even lower than that. But I'm willing to say that for now, I think we could definitely potentially go down to 25K. Now, on the other hand, okay, September is a terrible month for Bitcoin. But if we take a look at October, October is a wonderful month for Bitcoin. And it's kind of like the reverse. It's kind of like the bizarro September, because we have 2 years basically in which they were red, and then the rest of the Octobers have been green. So what that's telling me right now is if we stick to the established pattern, the sellers in September will become buyers in October. Okay, so I'm going to be taking advantage of this. I'm going to be buying in September as well, especially as if we get close to that 25K level. Very interested in buying in September in anticipation of an October pump. And usually November is normally bullish as well. December is kind of a mixed bag, but for the most part, we're going to be hopefully just trying to keep the support we have until the next halving, which is going to be happening in April of next year. Now, another cohort that's been selling lately has actually been the miners. If you take a look at our miners reserve, you can see that over the past couple of days, miners have reduced their positions pretty significantly. They've come all the way up here, about 1,844,970, all the way down here to about 1,840,249. Okay, so they've liquidated a significant portion of their holdings so far, and it does seem like they have been partially responsible for Bitcoin's decline in the past couple of days. Now, normally, miners tend to be fairly resilient depending upon, what miners are talking about and what their cost per Bitcoin is. But this has actually been a fairly sizable drop here in the number of coins in miners' wallets, and that seems to imply that they're trying to basically just sell the rip in the case of Bitcoin going up to 28K, and now they're going to be holding on to their current bags and probably not selling nearly as much. Okay, now if we take a look at our Bitcoin Exchange Reserve, it's very interesting to point out the Bitcoin Exchange Reserve, the number of Bitcoin on the exchanges, continues to be at an absolutely insane low. Okay, so before we were talking about coming into the month, this is August 1st, okay, or August 1st right here, of about 2,090,000 Bitcoin, okay? Now we are at a point where we're almost at 2 million, okay? Very close. So in the time span of about a month, we've seen almost 90,000 Bitcoin leave exchanges. Now that is insane, just to see that much buying going on behind the scenes. And most of the time when people buy from the exchanges, they're looking to kind of hold long term, but there are quite a few traders who are also buying and selling constantly. But the fact that the exchange reserve continues lower and the number of available Bitcoin continues lower. And again, if we just look at the all-time, this is the all-time going all the way back to 2020, we can see that at the beginning of 2020, when this metrics first started, we're talking about 2.8 million, okay, Bitcoin on the exchanges. And since then, since 2020, about 800,000 Bitcoin has left exchanges, or about almost a third has left exchanges. So that just goes to show you there is still very strong demand for Bitcoin, and people are taking their Bitcoin off of exchanges, okay? All right, so that's all I've got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think about this idea of Bitcoin seasonality. If you're planning on buying Bitcoin for the months of August or September, or if you have bought in August, or if you're just planning on sitting on the sidelines, I'm definitely interested in hearing about that. Leave a comment below, and I will catch you guys in the next video.